but Jake Tapper just exposed Joe Biden's mental decline in a brutal new book. And Gen Z puppet David Hogg just got tossed from the DNC faster than a conservative guest on The View. Take a look at this.
You have an entire White House press corps, though, following him around. And I'm just curious as to whether or not this kind of trying to hide what was happening with the president at the time had an impact on the press corps. Like, why didn't we hear some of these details from what they actually saw and were dealing with trying to get information?
Well, Alex Thompson and I were on the case, as were lots of other reporters, trying to figure out what was going on behind the scenes. But the bottom line is the White House was lying, not only to the press, not only to the public, but they were lying to members of their own cabinet. They were lying to White House staffers. They were lying to Democratic members of Congress, to donors about how bad things had gotten. And in fact, Alex and I started writing this book after the election of 2024. And we spoke with more than 200 people, most of whom, almost all of whom were Democrats, and almost all of whom wouldn't be honest with us or wouldn't be candid with us until after the election. And then after the election, we found out all of these things that when you looked at what was going on with President Biden at the time, it probably doesn't surprise you the extent to which he was deteriorating. But now we have anecdotes and facts about what was really going on behind the scenes with details that Democrats wouldn't share with us until after Election Day.
Okay. Whatever. All right. What's up, everybody? I'm KJ with Christian Conservative, your trusted source for bold, unfiltered news and analysis on the issues that matter most to Christian conservatives. So we all know that conservatives, Republicans, and the like, we're talking about President Biden's mental decline for years. For years, we were saying it. And not only did the media not report on it, but they covered it up. So now, since Biden lost the election, now it's convenient for the folks like Jake Tapper to now write a book on it. It's really shameful. It really is. And I hope his book tanks, not because what he's saying isn't true, but because he is doing it. He's an opportunist. He's not a truth seeker. He's doing this at this time because it's convenient for him, because now he's not in the pocket of the Bidens. The Bidens don't have anything to offer them. So now he wants to capitalize on the idea or the fact that, like everyone knew, Joe Biden didn't know whether he was coming or going the entire 4 years, if you really want to talk about it. Again, now he's saying that the Biden family, White House staffers were very tight-lipped on his condition. But isn't it the responsibility of the media to investigate, to probe, to ask these things, not shut it down when we mention it, when we bring these things up? Right on CNN, right on NBC, ABC, which is exactly what they did. Take a look here. This is an interview of Jake Tapper during the Biden administration, and he's saying there was no cognitive decline at all within that he saw.
How do you think it makes little kids with stutters feel when they see you make a comment like that?
It's very clearly a cognitive decline. Okay. That's what I'm referring to. It makes me uncomfortable.
You have no I can't. It's so amazing. It's so amazing to me that
try and figure out an answer.
A cognitive decline. President Biden embraces his stutter, talking about it, while Trump mocks it, exaggerates it, belittles it. He's sharp physically. I mean, mentally. Yeah. I think the question is physically, right?
Right.
More so?
Right.
Right. And the guy who's his chief opponent is only 3 or 4 years younger than him. Exactly. I mean, you have questioned President Biden's age, mental fitness, ability to lead. Of those supporting Biden, you said, quote, "Shame on all of you pretending everything is okay. You're leading us and him into a disaster." Do you worry that you damaged him at all? I don't doubt that you got hugs and handshakes behind closed doors today, and maybe even publicly, some of them because they like you personally. But I've heard a lot of really nasty stuff about you from your Democratic colleagues. Sure. I mean, just like, what is he thinking? Exercise in narcissism. I mean, false claims to the Wall Street Journal about President Biden's mental fitness and acuity. He's 81.
And his memory, it doesn't seem great. It's not horrible, but I don't understand the outrage. Quote, behind closed doors, Biden shows signs of slipping, unquote. The Wall Street Journal is owned by News Corp, which is run by the Murdochs. Beyond the headline, there is some critical nuance here. The article is mostly based on observations of Republicans, with former Speaker Kevin McCarthy the only one going on the record. They do note in the article that most of the criticism comes from Republicans. Have you heard any concerns from anyone who has met with President Biden about him seeming a little slower?
No.
Is disgusting because it's let's say that the White House was tight-lipped about this and they were not getting this out. This guy, Jake Tapper, he interviewed Biden multiple times. They interviewed him. The conservatives that were speaking out about this, you could clearly see that the man was senile, that he was in cognitive decline. And instead of asking about it, they ignored it and then covered it up. He covered it up. But we know that God will reveal all things in due time, and he did. And this man's credibility, Jake Tapper, he should not be viewed or believed on anything. But we knew this all along. But now the question is, why now? Why are they starting to pull back the covers now? What do they have coming? What do they have that they want that for the reason they want to get rid of Biden, or they want to, really sully his name now? They're willing to push out the truth now. Why is that? That's what we need to get to. So I will continue to cover this story. And it's not just this. Again, Jake Tapper is not the only one writing a book. There are hit pieces coming out all over the place. The Daily Wire is reporting that Democrats are getting desperate, begging Joe Biden to just go away. So you guys saw, we reported or covered on Biden doing a lot of interviews recently. He was just on The View. Again, it was hard to watch. It was really hard to watch. And you can go back on this channel and see where we covered his appearance on The View. But now he's being asked to take a step back out of public spotlight by a lot of Democratic operatives. Democratic strategist Chuck Rocha told Politico that the main positive with regard to Biden's appearance on The View was that the selection of the new pope quickly took over the news cycle. It's time for Joe Biden to go away, with all due respect, and let the next generation of Democrats take the mantle, Rocha said. Amanda Lippman, co-founder of the progressive group Run for Something, agreed. Says every interview that Biden does drags us backwards and reminds people of the older generation. Oh, so now it's okay to call him old, right? Before, you guys were saying people were guilty of ageism. So now it's okay to call him old. Older generation of Democrats that got us into this mess. When attention is our scarcest resource, we need to prioritize hearing from the next generation of leaders who could excite and rebuild the party. Oh my goodness. So they are really turning on each other, guys. The infighting is crazy. They're ripping each other apart. And I'm not bad about it, because guess what? When they do this, the truth is revealed. So I'm all for that. But as they said that they're trying to get rid of the old establishment figures in the Democrat Party, they just got rid of a young one, David Hogg. All right. So David Hogg, who won the vice chair seat at the DNC, looks like they're trying to kick him out now. So again, he was once the media's favorite anti-gun activist, is now the DNC is trying to kick him out of leadership. The Daily Wire reports that they are considering removing Hogg from his vice chair position due to a complaint filed by Kalyn, a Native American DNC member who lost the vice chair race. These people are so cruddy. I mean, they don't believe in any type of fairness in elections. If somebody won, they try every way they know how to get around them and get them removed. So Free alleges that the February election was discriminatory toward women of color and violated the DNC Charter's provisions on fairness and gender diversity. Oh my gosh, you can have that. This challenge has prompted the DNC to potentially hold a new election of the vice chair positions. So in addition to procedural issues, Hogg has faced criticism from within the Democrat Party for his plans to invest $20 million through his organization, Leaders We Deserve, to support primary challenges against incumbent Democrats he deems ineffective. There it is. So it probably was nothing wrong with the election that got him into office. But now, since he's saying he's going after the old guard, oh no, they are reeling out their wheelchairs and their canes, and they are going to try to get this guy removed any way possible. Okay. So, and this is exactly what they're doing. He was recently on with, I believe, Bill Maher. David Hogg was on with Bill Maher, and he was talking about what the Democrat Party needs to do to focus on young voters.
Now, what I think happened last election is younger men, they would rather vote for somebody who even if they don't completely agree with, they don't feel judged by, than somebody who they do agree with, that they feel like they have to walk on eggshells around constantly because they're going to be judged or ostracized or excommunicated. And what's interesting about this moment is it feels like the two parties in some senses have flipped, where, Republicans used to be the judgmental assholes in many ways. And since many Democrats, despite us, I would say for most of us coming from the right place of wanting to do the right thing, we've created a culture where we say, well, if you say the wrong thing, you're excommunicated. And that's just not how human beings work. Nobody is perfect. But ultimately, what we have to do here is figure out how to bring people back in and work towards the bigger goal of advancing the future of this country and helping young people especially get by so that they're able to focus on their lives and, getting with a young woman or something like that, instead of how are they going to pay their rent, for example, or how are they working their two jobs. Young people should be able to focus on what young people should be focused on, which is how to get laid and how to go and have fun.
David Hogg for president, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay. All right. So again, I mean, these people still don't get it. They still don't get it. Human beings, particularly men, they want something, they like to be structured. They like to be, feel like they have a purpose in life. And that purpose isn't about who can they get laid by. I mean, the Democrat Party, they are so perverse. I mean, again, and this is what they're about, though. This is all he in the same vein, he's here talking about, him getting laid, and then on the other hand, they support abortion on demand. So they're talking about he believes you should be able to, you have sex as much as you want, as whoever you want, no commitment, no covenant with the young lady or what have you. And then if a woman gets pregnant, she aborts it. Or as he said, because he just said he doesn't believe about hard work, and the young people need to be focused on that. So in other words, instead of working hard, they want the government to provide for these single moms, or for in some way for young people that may not be getting the education or the skills needed to work a job. They believe it's the government's responsibility to pick up wherever they fall short. So this is what they do. This is the Democrat Party. This is the Democrat Party. And take a look here. This is Charlie Kirk pushing back on this.
How nihilistic, and also how dismissive of all the concerns that young people are feeling right now. The Democrats the last couple of years, and Hogg is half right about this, they have lost young people, especially young men. When I go to these college campuses, though, they don't just want to have more degeneracy or debauchery. They're looking for something greater, something higher. They're in the pursuit of something good and true and beautiful. Remember, if you're on a college campus right now, the very young people that we at Turning Point USA are winning over, large in part thanks to President Trump, you suffered under the lies and the deception of COVID, of wearing a mask while you shower, of the 9th booster shot, of the hyper-policing of every pronoun and every syllable that you say. And they want something greater than that, not something darker and something that is rooted in a cynical worldview. And David Hogg is so dismissive of young people that want to have a mission, that want to have meaning, that don't just want to pursue what makes them feel good, but instead young people increasingly want to do good. This is also why we're seeing young people go back to church. According to Axios, a story just a couple days ago, church attendance is going up large in part thanks to young Gen Z men. David?
Yep, he's exactly right. He is exactly right. I 100% agree with Charlie Kirk on that. And what he said about young men being disenfranchised due to the lies that the media, the legacy media, have told and have come out to be. They've realized they were lied to, particularly about the COVID pandemic, or what I say, scamdemic. And I talk to young people about this when we do our man on the streets and things like that. Many of the things, we were at these rallies where there were young people, African-American young men, and they said they were turned off because they realized that there were so many lies that were told and pushed in the public about COVID. And these were mainly pushed by the left. They also said they were disenfranchised due to the censorship that they received during the scamdemic. If you didn't agree with, or if you had some type of opposition opinion, whether you were someone who was a celebrated, a highly decorated doctor, or if you were like me, someone who just had questions about it, you were censored. They saw this also with the education, the school closures from, K through college. They were closing schools, closing campuses. This was felt a lot by the younger generation, and to come out of all this and realize that it didn't need to be done, it's a massive wake-up call to thousands of young people. And they see this, and a lot of this came from the left. And as Charlie Kirk mentioned, the stories about how people are turning to evangelical churches and things like that, mostly men, and they're going in droves. Now, it's not women, it's mostly young men are moving back to church. So it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing because we know that people of faith have a higher success rate with relationships, with marriage. They have a higher rate in business and in college and things like that. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing. And I'm happy to see, I wish more women were moving back into church, but it's good that the men are leading this cause, because generally women will follow. But one thing for sure, I am excited that this is happening in the Democrat Party, because they are full of Marxists, and Marxists, all they want to do is cause chaos in America in order to usher in a global world order. And so it looks like it may be backfiring, and they are the ones that are moving into chaos. So folks, I'm KJ here at Christian Conservative. Again, join me as we expose the lies, defend our values, and fight for the truth in a world that desperately needs it. Subscribe and hit that like button. It really helps to push this video out to a larger audience. So as you watch, please hit that like button to stay informed, inspired, and empowered. I'll talk to you soon. Wishing you warm days and starry nights.